Hi, my name is Carol Crisp, and I would like to show you a video of the steps I take when I try out a new boot. I just received the new BackCountry glove. I have to say I'm particularly excited about this boot. I do a lot of backcountry trail riding. I ride in the Rocky Mountains, particularly on the Colorado Trail at high elevation. We do a lot of high altitude climbing, and then of course coming back down. My horses do great in the Easyboot glove, but I have one horse, because of his conformation, I've determined that that's between his conformation and he doesn't have a lot of feathering or hair on his pastern, and so in really extreme cases I have had some rubbing on him. And I've been able to solve that through other solutions. I ended up with a fleece sleeve I was able to put around his pastern and haven't had any problems since. But putting that one more piece in there adds a lot of time to our preparation. So when I heard about the backcountry glove, I was really excited because I think it may be a great solution for him. I'm going to test it out. The first thing I do when I get a boot, take it out of the box and tighten all the screws. In this particular boot, I've already done this, but do all the screws everywhere, side, back, everywhere. And then one other little tip, if you put a little dab of clear nail polish on top, around the base of that screw, you're not going to have a problem with that loosening in the future. So that's what I do to just prep the boot, and now I'm going to go get my horse and show you what I do there. Number one, I always start with a fresh trim and a really clean foot. Actually, I take a bucket of soapy water and scrub it with a stiff brush, both on the sole and on the hoof wall. I'm always checking the edge. I bevel, but I like to round it so that there's not a sharp edge on that bevel. I find that it fits down, the hoof will fit down in the boot a whole lot better. I noticed that the inside of this hoof was high, so I'm checking and made sure that it's real level. And again, also making sure I have a nice rounded bevel from the bottom side. So what I understand is these backcountry gloves are very forgiving, and that you can actually go up half a size on the boot. Like I said, on this particular horse I have issues with him, so I want to stay with a real snug fit with him, so I went with the same size that I use in the gloves, instead of going up half a size. The Velcro closures, I think I'm going to play around with those a little bit and see if I can get an even tighter fit there. And then before I ever start, I always lunge my horse and make sure I'm not going to have any major problems while I'm out on the trail. I want to make sure I'm not getting any twisting, or that I did something really wrong when I first put those boots on. So the problems I've had with this horse in the past is when I've done really steep hills, and so to start out with, that's what I'm focusing on this first trial run. I'm going to be doing a lot of steep hill work and see how those boots perform. I'm kind of chuckling to myself as I'm watching this, because for some reason on video these hills never look as steep as they actually are, and I gotta hand it to Smoke, he makes it look pretty easy. So I rode for 2.5, maybe 3 hours, and no twisting, no rubbing, Smoked, had no problem moving and maneuvering in the boots at all. Velcro was intact. When I took the boots off, I did notice on the front of one front hoof and one back hoof a little rub on the very front of the hoof wall, which corresponded to a screw on the front gaiter, and determined that when I inspected the boot that there was the very end of the screw was kind of coming beyond the lock nut, and so I just filed that down. Overall, I would say this was an excellent first trial of the boot, and I'm looking forward to test number 2.